no, in retrospect, this was an oversight from the when we were just putting together the UX of the beta Web IDE to replace the old Web IDE. Because the old Web IDE, the only place you can check out a branch is in the committing flow. And so kind of assumed that we incorrectly assumed that would just be the intuitive flow. But no, a lot of people didn't see that as an option and just felt like, wait, I'm not going to just commit to main, so I can't make any changes here. And they just close the Web IDE. So uh, this is
How would you feel about me just adding a little section in like here or somewhere, just say what the current workaround is?
yeah, that'd be great. That's a great idea because it's actually in a comment below here, and I would maybe link to the
Oh,
comment.
okay.
Um,
Yeah.
so you see, uh, that and that's not the workaround. That's possible a workaround, but if you keep going down, of
This one.
yes, yeah, that is the most canon workaround. Yeah, I would maybe just quote yeah, that's a great idea.
I'll still include. Is it this one?
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Thanks for putting that in there.
No, thanks for everything that you've done towards it. It's looking awesome, and I know it's hard when everyone wants everything now, but
Well,
we're all excited about it.
yeah,
So.
yeah. No, it's already uh super more enjoyable to use than the old Web ID. So I find myself using it. What I find myself using it for, here's an interesting use case of uh I find myself I'm writing code locally, but I'm also taking notes. And I will take notes in the Web ID and like this markdown thing. I'm like dropping in references to links is like this big thing of developer notes that I might want to commit to my project. I'll take that separately than the main commit I'm working on. So the Web ID is neat how it kind of
So
let
you can be working on two branches simultaneously,
even
one
three
locally.
things. So it's
Oh
great for
yeah,
just like I'm keeping track of documentation separately from the main thing. That's one
it's a
use case
really
I see all
interesting
the time.
sort of concept. I've never thought. Well, I have. Like, I'm quite often working on multiple merge requests at the same time, and if I could have two Visual Studios with different branches checked
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
but obviously I'd then have to claim the repo, and yeah,
I mean that is
interesting.
kind of the next level. Would be like, oh, that merge that MR workflow where we curl diff apply. If we could do that's just opening a tab, that'd be really fancy, man. That'd
Nice, nice. Have you started to use the remote development stuff in the Web ID, or you're not really getting involved in that at the moment?
well, some of the engineers that work on it, they put me off a little bit, so I'm joking. No, I'm joking. No, unfortunately, it's not. That's what Chad's working on is making that where that's going to be more usable for us and others, where workspaces are created by GitLab, not by the user, and that's going to make a huge difference. Be really interesting.
Awesome.
I'd
Love
love to
it.
try reviewing a Mars through that. That'd be really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're muted,
Um,
Chad.
It's to the point now, at least on this branch, where like in your local GDK, you theoretically should be able to run the VS Code backend and just, as long as you follow the instructions to set up Rancher desktop with Kubernetes, you can have as many local workspaces as you want. I should actually start dogfooding that.
That'd be nice. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
cool.
Um,
Hate infrastructure stuff. Whenever I'm like, oh my God, I gotta set up something with K in it. I don't want to do it. I just have
no.
Vishal help me.
Yeah.
So, what do we want to look at today, then, guys?
So I've definitely got some Web ID stuff to that I can look into. We can work on. I also have a that Apollo caching thing that we talked about with Natalia Lee.
I'm awesome to see that live. Well done.
Yeah, I have a potential follow-up to maybe simplify the
Like somewhere
approach a
else.
little bit.
Okay. Okay.
But like Natalia and I did a lot of collaboration of the initial approach and then possible other approaches, but I think it landed on a approach that has a smaller footprint than what's currently merged, and so that's something we might want to consider. So that's one to do I have is this patch I put together. I need to open up a separate MR for it and write some tests for it and try that out. So that's something I got to do. Did anyone else have any other ideas?
The only thing I've got, which I think the designs might be blocking us, but I always appreciate feedback, ideas, whatever you want to call it. That's, I'll share my screen again. Is that the right one? I don't know if I've talked about this before or if you've seen it going on, but there's quite a lot of buzz around it. Yeah. So
unlocked.
I've done a reasonable amount of the back end stuff. There's still some kind of mutations, bits and pieces, but one of the real next steps is around the front end. So I'm gonna cheat and stick to kind of GraphQL for kind of creating the achievements, for awarding the achievements, for evoking them, managing them, etc. For kind of an MVC or MVP, whatever you guys call it these days. But the one place we've obviously, there's no point in doing it if we're not actually what's the word I'm looking for? Raising it somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the phrase is I'm looking for there, but so there's a bit of discussion. So yeah, the big kind of whatever you want to call it that's been going on is where do we, so this top section of the profile is getting a bit out of hand. So there's lots of different, like down, across. This was my awful bit of gimping because I don't
nice
sort of going more to a left-right sort of approach. And funnily enough, it looks like this is kind of more and again, that looks a million times better. And then this is what I kind of mocked up. And then the debate is, is it more to do with the person or is it to do with like that projects and activities and stuff, trying to work out up there or down there, basically.
Yeah. But we should really take some inspiration from like what happens with in PlayStation, like what they do for their, like we really should take inspiration from, because that's what this is, and would love to see those examples.
How easy is it? By the way, Paul, have you been playing with ChatGPT?
Oh, you mean our senior counsel?
I asked it to write me an
honorary new member of the editor team.
I don't know, Chad, if you saw in the back end channel, I wondered if anyone had done any kind of automation, completely nothing to do with ChatGPT, but automation of kind of stubbing aspects, because I find it quite hard to, I don't know if it's the motivation more than anything, but get started with the aspects and thinking of how to set it all out. Nobody really had any brilliant, like, oh yeah, I use this tool, or you can do this, or whatever. Hopefully you're going to tell me that, what's the word?
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
JetBrains does it or something like that. But I decided to ask ChatGPT just on a complete, because I've not used it before. And I don't know, everyone's so hyped about it. I'm like, I must be missing out on something. And I asked it to write this spec. I'd already started writing the spec, and it pretty much did what I'd done.
Oh yeah, Paul and I already used this to write a spec, and like most of that made it in the Web IDE.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's and did you do, like, because again, I probably need to be almost taught how to use it. But it came back and it didn't, like, it was using let rather than let it be, and it wasn't
Yeah.
you know,
Well, here's what I did. Like I was using it for the remote development stuff. Like I needed to write a state machine. So I was like, okay, write me a state machine. And it sort of did that. And then I was like, wait a minute. Actually, I want you to use named parameters instead. And it did that. And I was like, okay. And actually,
exactly.
I want you to
Yeah.
throw an
Yeah.
exception on every case if it doesn't match. And then it does that. And then what I did is I took that code and then I was like, all right, I want you to write me an RSpec unit test for this, but use the table syntax using whatever, I forget the name of the library we use. And I said, for example, like this, and I just pasted in an example of a pre-existing one.
Love it.
And it wrote me a table syntax RSpec for the state machine.
Amazing. Absolutely
written.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I did this. I sort of said, can you optimize this using let it be? I said, can you optimize this by mocking at the top level rather than mocking in every sort of individual context? And you just keep asking it to do stuff, and it just unbelievable.
The end of that story, I don't know if you saw, but like when I was looking at that RSpec that it had generated, and I was like, yeah. And I was like, wait a minute. I don't even need a state machine here. I'm overcomplicating this. Really, the state is already handled by Kubernetes. All I need to do is just expose that state that it already handles.
Gotcha.
And this was like, with 20 minutes of not coding, just talking to the robot, I came to that conclusion, as opposed to like spending a few hours writing code myself to come to the same conclusion.
That's the real power of it, is its ability to unblock engineers that are fairly confident and comfortable doing
the most intelligent rubber duck in the world.
Yes, 100%, 100%. That's I'm irked by all of the flack it gets at, like, oh yeah, ChatGPT is not taking our jobs anytime soon. But that's not the point, isn't to probably
no.
The point is it's going to easily improve everyone's efficiency and productivity, which could inadvertently take some people's jobs.
I mean, I'd already pay for it.
It tells you how to do something, not what to do.
Yeah.
You need to know what to do.
You ask it the right questions, right?
Yeah. It won't tell you how to bully someone, though, unless you ask it to write a story about bullying someone. It's pretty good at that.
So it has a conscience. Is that what you mean?
It has. I wouldn't say conscience. I would say it has, strict, like, moral dogma training. Yeah, it's
awesome.
The early versions of this were like virulently racist and horrible things, and so they put these guardrails in, but people like try to get around them. They say, like, if you were writing a story about someone who was a racist, like, and it had a character in it, what would that story be? And there's like these back doors.
It's pretty funny. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No, I use it all the time. It's a great thing to use. But yeah, now that I haven't used it actually since they announced that, I'm debating paying for it.
Oh, you can do that, can you? Because I jokingly said if it, like, I would pay for it.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't know there was.
So it was all free, but now, I guess if you want, if you don't want ads in your responses, I'm joking, but if you don't want, if you want the premium bandwidth, they've now created a free window and a paid window, so that it can always be available for you, or it can be just available to you sometimes. So
okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's like, but being only available sometimes, that's like people. So
where is the paid window? I don't even see that.
I just had a look and it says ChatGPT Pro. Unfortunately, professional access is not available for subscription at this time. If you'd like to keep up to date.
Oh wow, maybe they had some bug with it, because I remember the day they announced it having an option to signing up for it. I thought so. I thought so, but maybe not. Maybe they had some bug with it.
I'll sign up. Do you got any idea sort of what they were asking for
The
it? Or-
price, it was, it was
42 is what I
pretty
heard.
hefty. It was 42. Something tells me they didn't put any thought into the price and just picked a good number, being 42.
Well, and there are other models, the ones that are not ChatGPT, they're like token based. So it's
Yeah.
depending on like how much activity you do. So I'm sure there'll be
Gotcha.
some component. Like the 42 gets you like a certain limit, but after that you still have to pay some more.
Yeah. I'm gonna see if me and a buddy, if maybe we can, I hope ChatGPT is not watching, but we might account share.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Didn't Microsoft buy them for like 8 billion or something?
Did
That's what I
they?
heard, or is that a rumor?
Jeez.
Hello.
I think I thought
Anyway, do you want to do some hacking, Paul?
I do. Yeah. Do you want to do this follow up apply a patch thing, or do we want to do some Web IDE stuff? What do you, or do you all have something else? Maybe even there's something on the Is This Known channel if there's something broken.
Oh, let's have a quick look. Let's have a quick look.
Actually, I regularly run into broken things, so I'm sure we can just use the
I'm always scared of sharing Slack.
I'm just scrolling through it right now.
Perfect.
Um
It's the font. Does anyone have the fonts? Who did I chat with last week? You weren't here, were you, Paul, last week? Can't remember. God,
yeah, the
my
font changed. We had some font changes.
my memory's terrible. Oh, it is IP.
Yeah.
Lucas, we were chatting about fonts and stuff, and funnily enough, the next day, the legacy Web IDE, not your lovely new one, but the legacy Web IDE seems to randomly be serving like a non-monospace font. I don't know if that got resolved or not.
Well, the legacy Web IDE is dead to me. That would be interesting. It doesn't sound fun, but that would be interesting.
Problem is, how do you recreate something annoyingly intermittent like that?
Yeah. I was running into this issue. I would love to get to the bottom of. Maybe I can share my screen and we can
Please do.
out together. I will go ahead and optimistically cancel a Slack. Let me make sure I'm signed in. Yes. All right, let's try this out. I'm going to play with David's MR. He's not gonna mind. All right. David has this MR. Before I start playing with it, I'm gonna say I'm going to look at this soon, but first I'm going to play with this for unrelated reason. Okay. That's a weird comment to receive. So this was the bug I was running into. It's very frustrating. So if I mark this as draft,
yeah.
and then let's go. Okay, here we go. Click this mark as ready. Something went wrong. Please try again.
Gotcha.
I don't know what's going on with that.
Let's bring up the inspector and have a look
at
at our console, friend.
Let's do it. All right. Oh man, I know. There's people tagged in this MR. They're gonna get some noise, but they're gonna have to deal with it. Debugger, and I'm gonna say pause. Oh gosh.
I'd probably check the network tab as well.
Oh no, I meant to. What did I mean to do? I meant to pause on exceptions. No, that was the weird thing is I saw no errors in the console at all.
Oh, okay.
Did
you
like
see any?
Even web requests, even like failed web requests.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not sure what was going on there. All right, here we go. Mark as ready. Boom. What is select? Yes, that's gonna blow up. Get selector from elements. All of this is undefined. Where are we?
Okay, the target.
What is that? Let's look at the
Isn't it right above the data target?
the data
The
target.
selector was undefined. It's not line 90. No, like this, the selector was undefined, right? So
Yes.
everything's undefined.
For
Okay,
some
got it.
reason, it says everything's undefined, but that means we wouldn't have even gotten to this point. That tells me this has got
The
to be
debugger is wrong. Yeah.
the debugger is wrong. What is wrong with this? Yeah, this is going to be a Firefox is having problems. I think I got to debug this in Chrome. So let me sign into Chrome real fast.
Cool.
I'll stop sharing my screen. I find myself switching to Chrome regularly. I don't know why I don't just use Chrome.
Yeah. Although all the rage is Arc these days.
It's Arc. Is that the fancy one that Marcel has?
Quite possibly. I just use it for personal, just to kind of stop Google accounts leaking into each other, etc. But
Even more than Brave. Like, as you see this being even more hyped than Brave.
I think I have on Slack. I don't think I've really heard of Brave, but probably just because Arc's are on the scene, I guess.
I see. Brave is really great. I love the Brave browser. It has an awesome block all JavaScript feature. That's my favorite web. The no
Basically, block the web, is that?
Yep, that's my favorite feature of Brave. Okay. All right, I'm in Chrome now. Let's reshare my screen. Boom. Boom. All right, we are in Chrome, opening up sources, and we will I'm sorry, the participants of this MR. They were unfortunately selected for my tests. Pause on caught exceptions. Boom. All right, here we are. Selector. What?
So the question is now, is it still going to error, or is it only erroring on your dodgy browser?
What is this?
Oh yeah, it is going to error. Of course it is, because
It said failed to execute query selector. Oh, because you can't even execute on. Oh, because it's not even a valid. Ah. Oh, but that should be fine though. I don't think that's the one that's throwing the error. Okay, let's keep going then. Boom.
okay.
Okay. All right. Yes, this isn't throwing the error. Let's keep going. Boom. 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 Let's keep going. Oh, geez. All right. Let's keep going. Oh no. Come on. What are we doing? This isn't the error. Come on, please.
Why are we using exceptions for control flow here? Is there no other way to do this?
I I don't know. Catch is a cool word. Try catch. It's cool. Yeah. We're doing exception control flow. Destroy the template instance. Okay, this is a catch that's document query selector. Ah! Ah! It's still there. Ah! This must be the one that failed. This is the one that failed. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. All right. All right, let's do this again. Sorry again, everybody. All right. All right. Marcus draft. Okay. Now I hit this button. Mark is ready. This is failing. Document query selector because it's null, because it's not able to find this. Ah.
So let's have a look what the
Let
Does
me
it just
let me
need?
go ahead and run this and see what we get.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not.
Cool. Cool. Simples. So what query selector can we improve? Can we replace it with, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, that is the question. We are in work in progress dot view. I'm gonna press play. Boom. Yep, something went wrong. And we see that everything is still saying draft.
Yeah, so it didn't update the.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, I guess it is just what can we replace this with? So let's
And what spec can we add to make sure it doesn't happen again?
yeah. Yeah, we can add a spec. That'd be nice, I guess. That's a good idea. Let's be an easy feature spec. How much time do we have? No, we have time. We probably have time for that. So I imagine, let me look at the console thing we just read. We ran merge request, detail page description. But we are in detail page header title. So merge requests, we would want to go detail, maybe even like issuable meta title. I think that's all we got to do.
Yeah. Love it.
So yeah, let's try that out. Let me stash.
I could really have used this in a couple of weeks' time. So I don't know if you know, Paul, I'm running a little contributor event in Brussels in a couple of weeks' time. And we
Nice.
really want
awesome.
some, like, I don't know, vetted would be good, but like some issues like this to get
not
some.
fix it.
Sorry.
Should I not fix it?
Well, maybe we'll go, maybe we'll continue, but maybe we won't. Like, maybe we won't. We'll kind of leave the merge request in draft. That might be quite a good. Yeah, actually,
Okay.
that's a really nice idea.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When
do you know what I mean? It's really good ones. I quite often get stuck on these Alice in Wonderland style rabbit hole. You know that you hours and hours, and it's more conversation than it is like.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas this one, it would be a perfect one. I hope.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, let's go ahead and keep moving forward, and we'll see what we get. So I'm here on a new branch.
So how did you find out how did you identify the line that was failing? Like I missed that part. You weren't getting it through stopping on exceptions, then you just said it's here.
This was the last one.
It did pick up on stop on exceptions.
This was the last
but
one.
you were just getting a bit trigger happy, weren't you?
Yes. Yeah. This was the last one. Thankfully, it stopped there. And then I saw, oh, we're not doing a try catch around this. We're in promised land. And I was like, okay, that's what's happening. This makes sense.
Promised land. I like that.
Yeah, promised land. It's time to go to the promised land. I see you're in callback hell. Let me take you to the promised land. All right. We are fix. What was it called? The button? I forgot. Fix resolve draft error from. That's fine. And we were in work in progress dot view. Yes. Oh, how interesting. Oh, this is interesting. This is why we hadn't run into it before, because we removed jQuery from it, and jQuery will just silently fail. So it wasn't updating the title, which I think I remember seeing. This wasn't updating the title, it just wouldn't throw an error.
So it's still getting a draft, but jQuery got it. So this was because of the conversion effort that's going on to get rid of jQuery.
Yeah. Breakups are hard, man. You know, you start realizing how codependent you were on jQuery.
It's like you're getting into the next relationship and they're like not willing to put up with your crap, you're like, well, the previous person was fine with that. They're like, no, you can't be passive aggressive with me like that.
Exactly. That's so funny. Is there more is this the only issuable meta here? It is. Do you think that's what we should replace it with, or do you think we should do detail page header? What do you all think?
Why wouldn't you just put a JS locator on this? Because you don't want to litter them too
Oh,
much, or what?
that's a great idea. We totally should do that. Yes. That's the right way to do this. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Is there any reason to never do that? Like, because
No, we
like,
always should, because
okay.
the CSS classes change and we wouldn't catch this more often than not. So it's a good idea to do that. Yes. Yeah.
JS MR title,
Yep.
whatever, the same as the QA one.
I'm good with that. JS, Mr. Title. Whenever I do this, I would just want to check that I'm not bumping into another class. But we seem to be good here. This is going to be great. All right. Yeah, and now I can just replace this with Mr. Title. Okay.
Absolutely. Nice. Although, do we prefer a silent failure?
Oh, it's
Yeah,
Or
why,
not?
why the question mark?
So I know I've yeah, that's a constant debate I've had in the past. You know, and I prefer in this instance it actually failed loudly, I guess. Otherwise, we
I think it's
potentially
worth being defensive for this, that it's still not going to like me doing this assignment thing. Ah, that's so
Why,
frustrating.
why? Why would we need to be defensive? Are we ever gonna not have a title?
That's what we said last time.
No, but we wouldn't have. Would we have known about? Well, we would know. Do you know what I mean? But the fact that it was erroring made it a lot more apparent there was something wrong. And we've come and fixed it. If it was silently
That's a good
failing, we
point.
probably yeah,
Right, it was silently failing before. Like, this isn't like
exactly.
we're never not gonna have a title. And if we remove the title or we change it to completely structure, then we should change this code as well.
So yeah, yeah.
I mean, I guess my thoughts are, we should add a test for this, and we will. Like, let's add a feature test for this. But if everything went wrong, what would the desired user outcome be? And what's currently happening is we did mark it as ready. So if I refresh the page, the title is correct. And if we have this feature flag, this whole real-time thing will update as well. But if this throws, I think you end up in a worse place from the user perspective.
So
Well,
I've got two suggestions. One would be to reorder them so that it emits that event first.
That's a good idea.
The other one would be to like almost refrow at the end, or still create an alert to sort of say that, you know, we weren't able to update the top. Like, yeah, but that's confusing messaging. But you know what I mean. So something went wrong. So
I want to challenge your assertion, Paul, that it's not okay to fail hard and do nothing, because this was apparently in a state a long time where, like, it halfway worked, but there was a misleading UI and nobody knew about it. To me, that is a worse state than it blows up hard
agreed.
and hopefully never makes it to production. That's the way I try to approach things.
I think though it was still working because of this feature flag. Like, so I think there's a lot going on here. I get it though. What I think is my issue is it's really weird to say we're ready and something wrong happened. What I would then to do is let's And also, if we were in TypeScript would force us to do it this way because query selector returns something that's possibly falsy. So it's like, I mean, it's a case that's worth handling, but I'm good doing this. I like changing the order that you're talking about. I like that idea, but then we should move the catch if we were going to be great with it. Why are you upset? Oh yes. Oh, you flip flopping thing.
This is part of me thinking in backend mode where like I'm in the transaction boundary, and if one thing blows up, it's all gonna go away. But that's not the case here. We're in the front end. Like whatever is done is done.
Yeah, and that's related to it as well. What's really lame with our linter is preventing us from doing I think the smart way to handle this. We don't expect any of this to ever fail. This really only applies to, did our request fail? But because our linter is not smart enough to know that this is a catch so if you do then you can pass two callbacks. The first one is when it's resolved and the second one is rejected, but it's only if this rejected, not if this thing failed. So then ideally we just have a console error that we would notice, and then we'd be fixing the console error. But anyways,
but again, I would say that a console error, chances of noticing it are a lot slimmer than a big old red banner at the top of the screen.
This is true. I don't know. It depends. I'm fine with we can hard code it. I'm fine either way because I think we should have a test for this. So you guys could.
Yeah.
What's the vote? Hard code it or expect truthy, or
yeah. We're right at spec. I would be happy for you to rearrange it as well. Like if you sort of say, well, that's less likely to fail than that. But I don't think we should make it type safe or whatever the term is, null safe or whatever, because
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I kind of don't like rearranging it because then that lets it stay in a inconsistent state. I'd rather it be all or nothing still.
Like I guess the question is, what does emitting that event, what does that actually trigger?
Yeah, I don't know. Something tells me it's gonna trigger merge. It's gonna
the merge button
changes. I'm pretty sure this is gonna trigger title changes, but or maybe it's just the status of it. I don't know. I really don't know. Yeah. I've been writing TypeScript. It makes me put null checks everywhere. All right.
Yeah, well, the other thing that I sort of always think is a bit smelly is when we sometimes put null checks in place because specs cause like null failures, if you know what I mean. It's like, well, we don't want to set all this fake data up just to write a spec that doesn't care about this bit of code. Let's put null handling in, and that's a bit of a smell as well, right?
I mean, just the fact of doing null checks like that everywhere, even in TypeScript, is a smell. It's like, well, it should. Why is this type nullable? Why aren't you checking it sooner?
Well, I mean, that's just the nature of interacting with the DOM, and so hopefully you have that co-located in just one place. But yeah, no, this is good. Let's see if we can add a spec. Let me run my bundle of yarn. Then merge request. User can see draft toggle. Wait, is this when they're editing it? What page are they visiting? Mark as draft. So we just have a
mark it as draft. They don't assert anything on the state of the page. No, this is an exceptional case, right?
What is the exceptional case?
This looks like it's just testing the state of the page. It's not actually toggling it. I don't know if there's a separate one for that.
Let's see if over here for anything that's draft, we have
User marks merge request as draft. Is there like
that sounds relevant.
it's the opposite of what we want, right?
Yeah. This is an yep, reviewing thing, finding this, clicking mark as draft.
So you want to just like say this is toggles draft status on and then duplicate it for a toggles draft status off.
Yeah, so look at this. Like, so this works, but it's because it's clicking a different one.
Oh,
Look
that
at-
one's doing both. Okay.
So let's just do it where how come our buttons
So
do
now,
things?
now do you want to do your due diligence and see how that's updating this in if you need to update that JS query selector as well?
Yeah, how come our buttons do different things? Right? What's up with that? What is this button? Chrome's really cool. Chrome will let me actually find listeners attached to it. Have you ever used this?
I have, but I found like view world just I end up deep in dark.
Yeah, this is yeah, it is. It is. Oh, but look at this. Helpers. Oh, this is a Sentry thing. Yeah, we might not need to do that one. Yeah, I'm wondering, is this because we just have technical debt that we need to pay off? This is a lot. Is this not what the other thing does? What does the other thing do? Let me look for what is it? How poor the poor people on this MR. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I keep notifying here. I probably should have done a test MR on this. What is this?
Draft toggle.
Is that what this is?
Title. Oh, there it is. Title element line 163.
Ah, this
Same
does the
button.
header title. Can we not call this function?
I hope
Yeah,
so.
this is all singleton stuff.
I still like the idea of improving the query selector though, like you've done.
I mean, yeah, but check this out. Look at this. Wait. All right. So right now this thing says mark is ready. Let me see what happens here. If I hit mark is ready here. Oh no. Wait. Oh yes. Okay. I was like, I don't want to be in. All right. Something failed. Look.
It's out of sync.
All right.
But is that because it didn't emit, or have you fixed it now so it did still emit?
No, this isn't .com. But what I think we need to do is I feel like we need to
Call that helper, but it clean it up like we cleaned it up here.
well, I mean that's asking a lot. I'm kind of just
Maybe this is a great one for Lee to take to Brussels.
yeah. Yeah, this is a good one.
Like this is a good, like it's a good journey. It's like, oh, here's a bug that was hard to find. We found it. Then we looked at the test, and that led us to some technical debt. Like that's a good journey to story to tell.
Yeah. Look, this is just a merge request file. There's for some reason we have a thing called merge request thing here. We should have just one file, no, this is wrong. We should have just one. This is old code, but we should have just one path this all goes down. So
yeah.
In that regard, from that perspective, if we have unit tests for this, I don't even feel like we should add a feature spec for it, because that code path is already covered with the feature spec, and feature specs are expensive. So I don't know if we need, now that we've consolidated the duplication, let's just make sure we call that unit like we should, and obviously test it and make sure it works. But all right, are we even testing this? If I comment this out, is that even? Well, we weren't even testing the success page of this. All right, I have to write some tests for it. Yeah, well, that was fun. This isn't going to take a long time. I'm going to test it out. I'm going to write some tests for it. I'm going to create an MR for it. I'd like to see it fixed. But do you think we should? Are you doing a thing this weekend, or is it next week?
It's the 7th and 8th of February, so I've got a week away.
Yeah, I'm gonna fix this before then. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's no worries. If you stumble across anything similar,
I can but I might be able to sneak some bugs in, maybe.
Yeah, if you come across anything similar, please, yeah.
I will.
I know it's always hard to predict, because you never know before you start looking at something whether it's going to be a sort of half-hour thing or a sort of 3-day thing. But and that's the thing that's challenging.
Yeah. Are you all thinking of bug fixes?
Not necessarily, no. I guess like feature enhancements and tweaks and that are something that you might be a bit more predictable. But yeah, it's the challenges, and we have them on these pairing sessions, and I have them on the community pairing sessions I do every week, where we're fortunate because we've been there and done that with so many bits and pieces that you sort of forget that you hit snags all of the time, and you've got that kind of muscle memory or whatever that's just kind of, oh yeah, I know what to do to get around that, or ignore this or do that. But for a newer contributor, the fact that we're constantly bumping the Ruby version, and that causes GDK to break, Gitpod to break, and bundle won't work, and there's just constant barriers. So it's really nice when we find something that's a nice journey, that we go in, oh, there's a query selector that's wrong. We either fix that query selector, or even better, take the opportunity to say, well, what could we do to maybe prevent that? Or we could also add a test, and that sort of thing. But so often we find these things that look like not quick fixes, but like a simple bug, and it just kind of balloons.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Do you would you all be interested though, if I can find some issues on the new Web IDE? Would that be an interesting project for?
It would. The only challenge I'd have is, and I'd be up for the challenge, but it would be a challenge because I've not tried to spin up. I don't know the steps, and I hope I'm sure it is well documented how to spin up the local development environment. And but yeah, we'd totally be up for
significantly. I say that just because it's significantly easier than the GDK. It's a separate project.
And you can just spin that up in a browser. You don't need GDK running. And interesting. Yeah, sounds good. Gitpod support.
That's really helpful. What'd you say?
Does it run on Gitpod?
No, so there's one issue that I need to fix so that we can open it up for merge requests, and I'm expecting to be able to fix that early next week. And then but I'll just keep an eye out for it, and if that looks like an option, I'll send it your way so that just you have a plan B maybe if GDK is causing some
some issues for people.
Sounds like it's probably quite lightweight anyway. So, it's a pretty new repo, probably quite small.
All
so,
you need
yeah.
is I think you just need Node and Yarn, and that's it.
Awesome. Brilliant. Yeah, we'd love to take a look.
Well, that'd be cool.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, hey, this was fun. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. As always, have a great evening, afternoon.
Thanks. You
Thanks.
too.
Catch you
Bye.
later. Bye-bye.
Bye.